But when you announce your goals publicly and then you fail, now you're the person who talked big shit but couldn't deliver. The most successful women that I know, you would never know what they're working on until it's done. And let me tell you why. See, one thing about me is that I'm a very private person. Nobody knows what I'm working on until it's done. And it's not because I'm secretive or I'm trying to hide anything. It's because I finally understood something that changed everything. I notice every time you tell someone your plan, you're inviting their doubt and their limitations into your mental space. So if you're telling everyone your plans, you're already losing. I used to be that person. New idea or goal. I'm telling it because I was so excited and I want everyone to know exactly what I was about to do. But you know what happened? Every single time, I kid you not, nothing. And I couldn't figure out why until I understood what successful women know that a lot of people don't. So let's talk about it. See, when you announce your goals, something happens in your head. You get this rush. It's a feeling of accomplishment, but you haven't actually accomplished anything yet. You're just talking about it. And that dopamine hit you get from people saying, oh, that's amazing, or you got this. That's the same dopamine you're supposed to get from actually doing the work. Your brain thinks you've already won. So the motivation drops and the excitement fades. And 3 weeks later, you've moved on to something else while the people you told are asking, hey, what happened with that thing that you were working on? And that's so embarrassing, having to tell people that you didn't move on it or you changed your mind. One thing successful women understand is that your mental state creates your reality. Everything starts in your mind. Your thoughts, your visions, and your goal is where the creation happens. And when you're out here telling everybody your business, you're letting other people into that mental space before anything has even had a chance to grow. Think about it like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to show people. Everyone will come stomp it out before giving it a chance to grow. So you protect it. You water it in private. And when it grows into something real, that's when people see it. But one thing that changed the game for me is when I realized that everybody don't want to see me win. And I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm saying that because it's the truth. Some people that you think are in your corner are threatened by you growing. They'll smile and tell you good luck, but internally, they're hoping that you stay exactly where you are because your success, it makes them uncomfortable about their own stagnation. When you announce your goals to people like that, you're giving them ammunition to project their doubts onto you, asking you, are you sure that's realistic, or questioning whether it's going to work? And even if you don't want to admit it, those words stick. They become little seeds of doubt in your mind. And before you know it, you're second guessing yourself. Keep those type of people from around you because we're on a higher vibration and frequency over here. Successful women don't give people that access. They move in silence because it protects their energy, their vision, and their belief in themselves. Another thing that happens when you keep your goals private is that you give yourself the okay to have bad days without people watching you, because the reality is that everything moves in cycles. Some days you're going to be killing it and you're going to be feeling yourself. Other days you're going to be doubting everything. You're going to feel like quitting and wonder if you made the right choice. But that's normal. That's human. But when you've already told your goals to everybody, now you got people watching your low moments. You feel under pressure to prove that you're still on track. And then you have to justify why you're struggling. And that pressure can be what makes you quit. When your goals are private, you can have your low days, revise, and you keep it moving without any of the judgment. You're free to experience that full journey, the highs, the lows, without all eyes being on you. And another thing to consider is that success and failure aren't opposite. They're on the same spectrum, just at different points. Think about it. Think about it like a thermostat, cold and hot. They're both temperatures, just at different degrees. You can move from cold to hot just by adjusting the dial degree. Success and failure works the same way. They're both just feedback telling you where you are on your journey. The only difference is the degree. So when you're keeping your goals private, win or if you fail, nobody knows. Nobody even knows that you were trying. You have complete freedom to adjust. You can take that failure, learn from it, tweak it, and try again without anybody putting a label on you. But when you announce your goals publicly and then you fail, now you're the person who talked big shit but couldn't deliver. You're the one who gave up. You're stuck with that label. And it's harder to shift your energy from that failure mindset back up to a success mindset because you've got external voices reinforcing the failure. Let me give you an example. Say you tell everyone that you're going to lose 30 pounds this year. You post about it, you get all the encouragement. Everybody is rooting for you. 2 months in, you've only lost 5 pounds toward the end of that year, and you struggle to do that. Now, every time someone sees you, they're either asking, how's the weight loss going? Or they're noticing that you're not at your goal, and then they begin to judge you. That pressure makes it 10 times harder to keep going because internally you feel like you're failing in public. But if you had kept that information private, you lose 5 pounds, realize your approach isn't working, you just adjust your strategy. Maybe try a different workout routine or a better eating plan, and you keep it moving. There's no shame or embarrassment. Nobody is there to watch you struggle. You're free to experiment, fail, learn, and just shift yourself up from where you are and where you want to be. That's why you have to move in silence and keep things private. It gives you the mental and emotional space to move from failure to success degree by degree without the weight of other people's opinions, judgments, or expectations slowing you down. They're just seeing the results when they happen. And look, to be real, I see why different cultures across the world talk about evil eye and bad energy. When people know too much about your blessings and your plans, negative energy can attach itself to what you're building. Call it what you want: jealousy, envy, or just bad vibes. But energy is real. And when you're telling everything that you're doing, you're opening yourself up to that. Successful women, they protect their energy. They understand that moving in silence is about spiritual protection. But what really separates successful women from everyone else is that they know that transformation isn't about just achieving goals. It's about becoming a different person. So when you're working on yourself in private, whether you're shifting your identity or changing your beliefs or just breaking old patterns, that process needs space. You can't become a new version of yourself while everyone's still treating you like the old version. You can't step into that confidence, discipline, and self trust when people are remembering who you used to be and questioning who you're trying to become. Transformation happens in silence. You give yourself the okay to shed the old you. Make mistakes, figure it out. Figure out who you're meant to be without judgment from people who don't even understand the journey. And when you finally emerge and just begin to operate at a completely different frequency, people won't even recognize you. And that's the power of moving in silence. There's something else that happens when you finally keep your goals private. You develop a real discipline. When nobody knows what you're working on, you can't rely on motivation. You're not getting likes, comments, or people cheering you on. You have to be self driven because motivation fades. But discipline will carry you. It'll carry you through the days when you don't feel like doing anything, when you're tired and you're doubting yourself, when nobody's watching you and you have to choose to keep going anyway. Successful women built that muscle by moving quietly. They proved to themselves that they can do hard things, and that creates confidence, confidence that can't be moved by external circumstances. Think about it like playing chess. In chess, the best players don't reveal their strategy until checkmate. And in business, the best deals happen behind closed doors. So when you're silent about your moves, you can be strategic. You can pivot without explaining yourself. You can change direction without looking inconsistent. And you can also take risks without people telling you why you shouldn't. And by the time people realize what you've been building, you're already 3 steps ahead. And another thing that happens when you're private about your journey is you stop comparing yourself to everyone. When you're not posting about your progress, you're also not scrolling through everybody else's stories, feeling like you're behind. You're in your own lane, moving at your own pace and Focus on your own growth. And that's exactly where transformation happens. You're not in competition with others, you're in alignment with your highest self. So when people ask me why successful women keep their goals private, this is what I tell them. It's not about being secretive, it's about understanding universal principles that most people ignore. It's about protecting your mental state because that's where your reality is created. You have to conserve your energy and be ready to execute. It's about giving yourself that experience for the full spectrum of growth, the failures, the doubts, without judgment. It's about developing confidence, discipline, and just self trust. It's about the process of just becoming someone new while doing it in silence. Successful women don't need to announce their plans or what they have up their sleeves. They don't need validation. They don't even need people to believe in their vision because they believe in it, because they believe in it themselves. And that's all that matters. They move in silence. They do the work, and when the time is right, their results do the talking. So if this resonated with you, I want to hear from you in the comments. Are you someone who shares your goals or do you keep them private? Tell me about your experience. I'm curious to know. And if this video gave you value, hit that like button and subscribe. And let me know, are you going to keep broadcasting your every move or are you going to start moving like the successful women that you were meant to be? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.